So, welcome to our YouTube channel LemonTopper for our initiative Master Vocab 30. So, let us look for the important articles from today's Hindu's newspaper, that is March 2026. And so, these are the important articles that you must be going through from today's Hindu newspaper. From the front page, it is about the delay on the FTA negotiations with Israel and the Gulf Cooperation Council countries, and then the spotlight article regarding the transgender bill, right? And then in the editorial page regarding the new GDP series, and then what are the benefits and the challenges in the AI powered tax governance, and regarding the ISRO's space launches, so the losing the way. And then from the opinion page regarding the interview on how far the government should go in using the AI. So then regarding the oil, power, and the politics of disruption within the current US, Israel, and Iran war, and the article about the Mahat Satyagraha, which deserves a centenary celebration like that of the Dandi March, and then other newses like the arrest of the 7 foreigners, the unfenced border with the Myanmar again in the focus now. Again, the need for an self-reliant drone industry stressed by the Ranjanath, and then Supreme Court reserves the verdict on the ambit of the industry. And then other newses like that the states and the union territories set aside funds to new rural job schemes, and then Twitter accounts posting contents critical of government, such accounts were withheld. And then a lack of sustainable water resource will thwart the mission, which is Jal Jeevan mission. The panel was having some reports on that. And then regarding the relief measures by the center of 97 crore for the exporters impacted by the West Asia crisis, right? And then finally from the science page, so women under the tuberculosis, a story of deprivation and discrimination and depth. So these are the important articles, and if your exams are serious about the current events both within the country and foreign affairs, so you must be going through all these articles from today's Hindu newspaper, right? Next, moving on to today's exploring an article from the editorial section. So it is Losing the Way. So it is about the ISRO's NAVIC satellite system. It is in trouble because it has only 3 functional satellites, which is below the threshold required for navigation services within the country. So how the poor launch rate and the mission missteps have weakened the constellation, right? NAVIC. So it speaks on the institutional gaps and budget constraints. So how it is worsening the crisis further, right? So all this are said in this article. You can go through this, right? So while moving on to the list of words from this article, let us see one by one. Fixing issues, which means trying to resolve the problem or correcting the faults. And second generation satellites means something improvised or an upgraded version of the initial set of satellites is called the second generation satellite. Means that learning from the first generation satellites and something it is upgraded and it is launched. You know, it is Navy constellation. It is a satellites group formed to help the regional navigation system, right? So operational distress means a malfunctioning or a difficulty affecting the normal functioning, right? Navigation means so the process of determining the position and the directing the movement from one place to another. Navigation, you also all know it is a familiar word. And what is constellation? Constellation means a network of satellites working together that is placed in the orbit. Ours is Navy constellation, right? Unable to fulfill means not able to meet the expectations. GPS system means so globally used for the navigation, timing, and the direction. So America's GPS system. What is atomic clock? Means a highly precise timekeeping device used in the satellites. You know that the rubidium atomic clocks, right? So onboard means something installed or located within a vehicle. Here it is referring to the spacecraft. Then, as you know, the first generation satellite means the first set of satellites launched in the under a program. Dock by the failure. which means a person persistently affected by the repeated problems or the setbacks faced, right? Abortive means failure to achieve the intended outcomes. Decommission means taken out or ended the service of use, right? Then transitioned means moving from one phase to another or one phase to another, right? One stage to another, right? All those refers to this transition. See, we have given the meanings here in English and parallelly we have given the meanings in Hindi as well. So it is up to you to decide whether you are comfortable with English or with the Hindi, right? So that you can finish the article in your own phase of understanding the things, right? Next, moving on to the next set of words, it is indigenous. Means you know that indigenous means Atmanirbhar Bharat, right? Developing within the country rather than sourcing from the outside, right? Reducing the foreign dependency. Genesis means the origin or beginning of something. Space sector, it is like, see, we are given very basic words. So the idea behind it is to help even the beginner who is just now started to learn the newspaper, right? So hope you understand the idea of being giving even a basic list of words in this list so that no one is left behind, right? Okay. Reforms means changes introduced to improve the system or a policies or an institution. What's saved, which means something granted in a reluctant manner, right? Commercialization means a product into the market for profit, making it to for sale, right? Overextending the agency means placing the excessive demands on an organization beyond its capacity, right? Counterpart means something similar to that of the similar role in another system. Example, ours is ours is Navy, US is GPS, and Europe is Galileo constellations. See, it is given here, right? So it is of Europe networks of navigation satellites. Procurement means acquiring goods and equipments. So the challenges in acquiring the goods and services and the equipments is called procurement challenges, right? Equipping means providing the necessary tools, to achieve something or to make it operational, functional, all those things refers to equipping things. So and we have given the meanings in India as well. You can refer from here too, right? See, the idea behind is giving these list of words is not about memorization. So it is to help you to finish the article in a short span of the time so that you have a better hold over the article, right? That's the idea behind it, right? Then the final set of words is like degrading faster, means that's something it is deteriorating in the condition or losing its effectiveness at a quicker pace. Replenished means restore or refilled to the required level, right? Stems from means originates from. Budget means you know that estimate of income and expenditure of a particular period. Upcoming means scheduled to be happening soon. Handholding startups means providing the guidance and support needed for the new business, right? Grip on means a firm control or understanding over something. And we have given the Hindi meanings as well, right? So these are the list of the words for the article taken from the article from the Hindu newspaper, right? And then coming on to the remaining list of the articles that you must be reading from today's Hindu newspaper are the long walkway. So regarding the protest over the bill placed in the Lok Sabha on the transgenders, regarding the transgenders, right? Then how the new base year for the GDP 2022-23. So what is need to be done further with this new GDP series, right? And how for the tax governance supported by the AI has benefited, and what are the challenges in its way, like ethical or legal challenges, whatever may be the case, right? Next, from the opinion page, so you can see how far the government should go using the AI regarding the privacy concerns, how far the genuinity or the trust confidentiality of the data sets. So all those things were discussed in this interview. So you can go through it. Then regarding this text and contact page, you can see the oil, power, and the politics of disruption. So regarding the current Gulf War involving US, right? And then how for the Magadh Satyagraha deserves its centenary celebration like that of Dandi March by Gandhi, right? Whereas Dandi March is only about the against the foreigners, but whereas Mahat Satyagraha, it is about the fellow Indians. So it is a good article. You can just have a glance over it, right? A better advantageous comparison is made here, right? So then from the science article, you can see that how the tuberculosis affect women is seen as a story of deprivation, discrimination, and death than just a infectious disease, right? It speaks about the how empowered are women in dealing with this disease, right? So these are the articles you must be reading. And for the list of the words on these articles, we are providing, as you all know, it is provided in the LemonTopperStudy.com. So you can straight away go to this portal and scroll and get the list there. So every day we will be posting the list of articles for that particular day from the Hindu newspaper around 11 a.m. You can directly go to our website called LemonTopperStudy.com and get the meanings there, right? So that's all for today. So if you have any doubts and clarifications regarding the initiative or the list of the words, kindly post your comments below the video in the comment box. We will try to reply as soon as possible, right? So that's all, guys. Thank you for listening. Keep learning. Bye.